Hi there, my name's Adrian and welcome to Hyundai Power Equipment. Today we're going to examine the HYBC5200 brush cutter. Okay, let's examine the contents of your box then, shall we? I've laid everything out on the table here so you can see exactly what you get. First of all, you've got the head unit. It's got the right-handed trigger. There's a little bit of assembly needed here. That's the right-handed trigger. And this is the operator's sort of user bar, which will be fitted here. We'll go through that later, the assembly. Next we have the tool kit. Now there's various tools in here, Allen keys and screwdrivers and things, but also are all the nuts and bolts and screws and things you're going to need for the assembly. The guard for the strimmer head. This is the lower part of your shaft, which will be assembled down at the other end there to make the two-part shaft. A little bit of assembly again, we'll go through that later. Here's the bump stop trimming head with some cable in it and some spare cable, or trimming wire we should call it. Next we have the 3-tooth brush cutter blade, and this unit also comes with an 8-tooth brush cutter blade as well, so you've got both choices. Next we have a comprehensive user's manual. All the information you're going to need is in here. You know how to assemble and all the rest of it, and there are some useful tips and hints and some safety information, so make sure you read the manual. Next we have a warranty registration form. You can fill this in and post it back to us, so I think all the details are on there where you can do it online as well to register your warranty. Here we have a Morris Lubricants lubrication chart, and it shows you what two-stroke oils and what have you we recommend for lubricating your unit. Next we have the user's harness, which you can strap on over your shoulders, and it'll carry the weight of your tool sort of over your shoulders. Next, a pair of gardening gloves. Then a face shield, which is quite important. A little bit of assembly needed there, I shall show you that later. Some ear defenders, fairly obvious. And your two-stroke oil mixing bottle. This is very useful because it gives you the graduations for the correct mixtures of the two-stroke. We should go through that a little later as well. And that's the contents of your box. So the first thing we do on assembly of the head unit is to assemble the handle and the trigger mechanism. Now, this is the user's handle, and you'll see that it's got a plastic handle already fitted one end, and the trigger mechanism goes on the other, and it will be in your right hand. So if you imagine this being here, in this position here, it's got a flat section here which is going to clamp there. We shall do that in a minute, but the first job is to fit the trigger mechanism, your throttle mechanism, onto this handle which has nothing on it. You'll see on this handle that there's a hole right through the shaft, and there's a corresponding pin inside the trigger handle. That pin, first of all, which screws on, we can go to our tool packet, and there's a screw already fitted. So we'll undo this screw, remove it. What we're looking to do is to line up that screw hole, where the screw will go right through, with the hole in the shaft. So what we're looking to do is just to fit the shaft up into the hole. Now, as you can imagine, it's going to sit here on the machine. So this could go either way round. The way round you want it is with the on-off switch facing yourself and the cable coming your side of the front handle. So that's the orientation I want to put the screw. So, having got it in the right orientation, from the outside we can then fit the screw back in. It passes through the hole in the shaft, and with the screwdriver, simply lock the screw back into place. And that's the trigger mechanism fitted to the handle. So there, as we can see, as it's going to go on the machine, the on-off switch is facing me. This is the trigger lock facing me, and the throttle is facing away. And that's the correct way round, as opposed to being on the handle with the cable coming in the back. This is the correct way. Okay. Next job is to remove this little clamp plate here. And as you can see, the shaft of the handle will actually be clamped in the hole that runs through this clamp plate. Right, what you need is the larger of the two Allen keys, or the 5mm, and undo all of the 4 bolts on the top. It's not hugely technical, you just undo the 4 bolts, place the bar in position, clamp back on the top, and then tighten up the 4 screws. Now this handle's got quite a wide flat part, and as you can see, the clamp can go in. There's a bit of variation as to where it can go, an inch or so. Probably start out in the middle, but you can alter it to suit yourself at a later date. So there we are. That goes on there. Just hold it in place lightly. Put the 4 screws back in the holes. Let's just get all 4 started first. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's not to worry. Put it roughly in position where you're going to want it. Just loosely clamp them down. And tighten up the 4 Allen bolts. As you can see, I'm just screwing them down long ways to start with, till they're nipped up. And then when they get to the bottom, you can finally just tighten them up. If you want to alter the position of the handle, it will rotate back and forwards in this clamp, but you can sort that out to suit yourself. Just loosen the screws, get it where it feels most comfortable, and then retighten the screws afterwards. And that's the handle fitted. Okay, having assembled our head unit, we'll move that out of the way for the time being, and we'll move on to assembling the strimming head itself. Now the guard here needs a little trimming blade fitting, which trims the length of your trimming wire as it's going round. This is the little trimming blade, and it's got a little plastic sheath on it to stop you cutting yourself. Again, in the toolkit, you'll find 3 small self-tapping screws. Where can I put them? 3 small self-tapping screws, and again you're going to need the screwdriver with a cross head on it. Now then, on the inside of the guard, you'll see there's a little triangular piece with a notch, and it also has a little groove in the back. And again, this blade basically is going to sit on there like that. So as the string comes round, if it's too long, it's going to cut it off, and it's not going to thrash your guard. So if you hold that in position with one finger, just put a screw through the hole. And start the screw. Then put the second screw in. Start the screw. It should stay there now. Third screw. Start him off. Okay, once you've got 3 screws in position, just hold the plate down, and you can tighten these 3 screws all the way to the bottom. They are quite firm, but they do screw in quite easily. And as I said, screw them right down to the bottom. Okay, so that's the cutting blade. Now it is fairly sharp, so for this demonstration I'm going to leave the guard on, but obviously if you're using it, I mean that would soon wear away, but you could take that off. So I'll just keep it on there so I don't cut myself. Right, the next step is to fit the guard onto the strimming shaft. Got a little clamp plate here. It's got a little protrusion, a little like a half-sheared bobble in the centre of it. And what you will see in the lower end of your shaft is a hole, and that's going to locate there. So as you can see, it's going to sandwich between the two. So the simplest way to do this, you'll see there's 2 screw holes, and you've got this plate. Again, in the toolkit, 2 long screws. If you just get those started in the holes, just get them started by hand first of all. There we are. Again, the 5mm Allen key. Just get these started. We leave them about, well, I don't know, 10mm from all the way down, I suppose, just as a starting point. Just so you haven't got all sorts of fiddly bits in your hand when you're putting it together and sliding it down over the end of the shaft, which I'll go through now. There we are, that'll do us. On the end of the lower shaft, you'll see there's a little transit plug. Remove this from the end. I mean, it is quite simple to get off. There we go, off it comes, a little rubber plug.